Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, the chief content producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. If you're listening to us on our audio platforms, please give us a 5-star rating. Please subscribe. Please download this episode and all the other episodes. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, please give us thumbs up and please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Our next guest today is a Spotify verified artist. As of this recording, he has over 29,500 Instagram followers, and also, not to mention, 296,100 TikTok followers, and his videos have been accumulated. His likes have been accumulated over 1.2 million likes. Can I emphasize 1.2 million likes on TikTok? I don't know how he does it, but I'm going to find out. So please let me welcome the fabulous Brooklyn Juliana to the podcast.
Hey guys, it's Brooklyn Juliana. Really happy to be here.
Brooklyn, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. All my pleasure, really.
All right, so let's get started. So when you get interested in performing, and how did that passion evolve the desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
I mean, that's a really good question. It's just one of those things where, like, as a kid, I really fell in love with the stage. I love performing. It's one of those things where if I spend any extended amount of time away from a stage, when I get back onto it, it's home to me. And eventually that really turned into something where it's like, I guess I could record a song, and you know, I really love the recording process. And then which I discovered through that, I discovered just creativity in general, and I love making things. It's an outlet for me.
I love everything about that answer. It's really cool. I love karaoke, and I was in choir from 5th to 12th grade, so I know the feeling about performing.
You bet. You bet.
Absolutely. So who are some of the artists that inspired your sound?
My goodness, my sound. Well, do I even have a sound right now? I don't know. But this last record, "Thinking About You," is a step in that direction. I don't know if there's an artist in specific that's inspired that, but what I'll tell you is I've got an album that I'm working on right now, and there's influences from all over the world. I'd say, there's a bit of Japanese rock that's influencing what I'm doing because just as a kid, my mom took me to a concert one time, and I was just blown away by just the theater of it all. And here we are, and I hope it surprises people.
I'm feeling it well. I'm feeling it well, and I gotta say, it's amazing to see the rise of Japanese rock across the music spectrum.
I mean, like some of the stuff I'm listening to is like from before I was born. It just and it just like rediscovering that stuff. It's been just like super like healing for me, just kind of reconnecting with my childhood, and that's what's happening on this on my new album.
Absolutely, and I love reconnecting to old material as well. Like I still remember, I get the chills. They hear like would do on my workout playlist. There's like random songs like Bon Jovi's "It's My Life" and Britney Spears'
Wow.
"Is Stronger." The people like the songs that played up, and then Backstreet Boys' "Larger Than Life." Those are the songs that played a huge role of my upbringing.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is, it is. But we're not talking about here to talk about all of them. We're here to talk about you, Brooklyn.
Well, thank you very much.
So, Brooklyn, as you've been working in the industry, what have been some of the challenges that you have faced staying in the industry and also breaking through to the international music markets, and how have you overcome those obstacles?
um I mean, it was just, I've been so fortunate in the sense that, like, um I feel like I've found a great just start with my audience, and they really love me, and I'm super grateful for kind of my history in music right now. Right now we've got a new direction, and I feel like I'm kind of going in a little naked, a little vulnerable. But uh, I think the biggest challenge for me is I'm just so creative, and so sometimes my schedule, the way that's all set up, is I'm kind of doing a lot at once, and I can and I have to kind of really make sure I'm on top of that schedule, making sure that, hey, you know what, I can't focus too much on just one thing at any given time.
I totally agree. I was watching Sloan, one of my favorite YouTube creators, Sloan's videos before we got on here, and he was talking about how like One Direction's been going through when they were in a group, and I was like, oh my god, that was one exhaustive schedule, one after another. So is that kind of so? Have you learned how to set boundaries?
I'm learning. It's definitely a process.
It is, and I wish you luck on that. So let's get started with some music, shall we?
Sure.
Alrighty, so I want to talk to you about some of your songs that you can be found on Spotify. So I'm looking at, and these are the numbers as of this recording. So let's talk about Imagine the English version because as of right now, it's sitting with 57,600 Spotify streams.
Yeah, Imagine English. That is you know, that's a fan favorite. They really like that one. I love it because the lyrics are kind of dark, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you, you're the first person I've ever told this to, but there's a lyric in there. It's a dark story, and given where the song kind of originates from, just in my past, in my music, there's a dark story in there, and the lyric goes, "The memory of you is haunting me, and I can't wait to be with you." It's very much about romance, but perhaps a lost love, and that's the story I'm telling through that song. And I love doing it in English because then I can finally express, the story I had in my head writing it.
It sounds like with the title Imagine, it sounds like positivity, but then all of a sudden I hear the story, and I'm like, thank you for sharing that. It sounds like it's like a Phantom of the Opera, Romeo and Juliet.
That's exactly what it is. There's a lot of theater in that, and that's exactly what I was going for. A little bit of like the dark hero, a little bit like Batman or Bruce Wayne. Those are the characters I really connect with.
I gotta say, did I love Batman? Batman's one of my all-time favorite superheroes, and we could talk hours about Batman. In fact, I met two of them, and both the dearly departed Adam West, and of course the legendary Kevin.
Nice. That's amazing. That's crazy.
It is. It is. Batman is my favorite superhero out of all of them.
Me too. I dressed up as Batman like 3 years in a row when I was a kid.
Oh wow! Believe me, when I was a kid, it was the same year. It was basically Bill Power Rangers Billy Cranston
Oh wow, that's
for a
crazy.
couple years in a row. So anyway, let's talk about. Well, I gotta say, we gotta talk about later about superheroes because we gotta get back to music.
All right.
So the next song I'm going to talk to you about is "I'm Gonna Love You."
I'm gonna love
After
you.
this recording, is 176,000 Spotify streams.
Well, that one's a really special one because I wanted to make something for my audience that was on the uplifting side. Um, I'm actually writing an English lyric for that right now, and you know, the video is really special. We filmed it in Vancouver, Canada, where it always rains, and so if anyone's ever seen the music video for this, it's really gorgeous, and you might think that was a Hollywood effect there. No, it's real rain, and it was freezing, but we did it for the picture, and I'm so thrilled with the way that turned out because I think the whole aspect of a light through the dark and a hand reaching out is very well visualized there. And of course, I love the song. It's one of the hardest songs I have to sing and perform live, but kind of giving it my all is something I wanted to show my audience, and I think that you know, a little courage goes a long way and to inspire people.
Absolutely. I miss Vancouver. It's one of my favorite. I went there years ago, decades ago. And it's a beautiful city when it's not raining.
Yeah, I was fortunate that night to have the rain for that night just for the shoot for the effect. And then when you're doing music videos sometimes well, most times you only have the one production day for photography. And then the next night though, we actually did film just some additional footage, and it was perfectly dry. So the weather was really on our side that year.
And music video shoots can take up to 3 months and almost a year sometimes, it feels
Um,
like.
Yeah, there's pre-production, there's post-production, there's a whole thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I know you brought up something, and I just want to talk about it. So you said that you were writing in English first. So how long does it take you to transliterate your songs?
Um, well, in some cases, like for Imagine, I had actually written the English lyric first. In the case of I'm Gonna Love You, I'm writing that right now, and I'm not doing too much of a translation so much as I'm just writing the lyrics that were originally in my head when I first conceptualized a song. But there was never an English lyric written other than the title of the song.
Oh, that's very interesting. Very interesting. So let's talk about Young Love. That sparks a lot of interest in Spotify with over 263,000 Spotify streams.
Young Love, that is my first single. I was just talking with someone last night about youth in general, and that song was meant to really represent, well, falling in love, of course, but with anything, to be honest, and having that, just being naive when you're young, when you're falling in love and being naive. That was the emotion that I wanted in that song because I think it's so important to carry forward as you grow up, mature a little. And so I just wanted to make a song that maybe if I listen to it years down the road, it would remind me of, what's most important.
And not to mention, it can also mark like your a time between your career, like saying if it's when like a lot of artists today love to have the career strength like some of the legends have like 50, 60 plus, some 70 plus years. So maybe it could also mark the time like a starting stone and like you can finally look back on it decades later.
Yeah, I like to think of it that way, a bit of a time capsule, if you will.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about Thinking About You because it's your latest single. And how is this single similar or different between this song and the three tracks that we previously spoke about?
Well, it's thinking about you. What's so exciting about that for me is that I decide, I decided to make something that was just me, no bells and whistles. Not a whole lot of like overt production value. There's a lot of production value actually if you in the song and the video. Just but just a cleaner, more concise direction there because I didn't want to present with a whole dance number, and I didn't want it to feel artificial in any way. I just want to kind of strip Brooklyn down to its basics, um and I watched the thing and I listened to the song. I actually listened to it like for the first time in a few weeks last night, and I found that I'm really starting to like that guy that's there. I'm starting to like Brooklyn. He's all right.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. So let's talk about dream collaborators, singers, songwriters, producers, and musicians in the future that you would like to collaborate in the future, and how would they help you enhance your sound?
The whole collaboration thing is tough for me because like I'm my own worst critic, and so I can't imagine I would even like a song that I did with my favorite artists out there. But if I had to pick one artist that everyone knows that I'd love to work with, it might be Ariana Grande. She's just so phenomenal, and I'm here just to manifest that.
Well, let's freak it out into the universe. And I gotta say, hopefully Ariana Grande will get wind of this.
Yeah, I hope so.
And also, I have an Ariana story to share with you.
Do you?
I met her when she came back, just as she was starting out when she was promoting The Way in Kansas
Wow.
City. And I was backstage at my local Mix 93.3 all media access. And I got to meet her and gave her a huge hug and told her she had a bright future ahead of her.
Wow. And you know what? You were right. You were so right.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that, Brooklyn. That's great to hear. So anyway, gotta say, I admire your social media strategy because the thing is, your content has gained th- thousands of followers on Instagram, and not to mention 1.2 million likes on TikTok alone.
I have no clue how that happened. Um all I all I really know is that and I told this to my manager last year, is that I want to give the best concerts I possibly could, and that kind of caught wind on TikTok, and the rest is history, I suppose. Fairly recent history, but um, I just focused on that. I'd never really thought about the numbers of it all at all.
It's like, do you have like any one memorable video that you got a lot of great positive response?
Some of the weirdest videos kind of went semi-viral. I've got like hundreds of thousands of views on this video of me ranting about McDonald's. And so to me, that was particularly memorable just because I was just ranting about McDonald's and how the calories really aren't that bad. That's probably my
It,
favorite one.
yeah, I like, first of all, I gotta say, it's very interesting. Like, if you pick the right things at McDonald's, it's fine.
It is totally fine.
Absolutely. So we gotta start winding down our conversation. So if you had the opportunity to speak with artists who are going through a transitionary process in their career, what advice would you share to them?
I mean, for me, like, this has been so like just liberating. That's the biggest thing. And so the past 4 or 5 months for me, transitioning out of what I used to do into the kind of music that I'm hoping to make more of in the future. I think you just have to trust your gut. Um, I was just talking with my manager the other night, and I said, um, and I'm sure everyone says this, but the heart is much faster than the brain. It's much quicker than the brain, and make sure your heart is kind of choosing the direction, and your brain will tell you how to get there. And that's kind of something I've learned the past few months.
Absolutely. So last question, are you ready?
Sure.
All righty. So Brooklyn, where can I find your music? And number two, where can they connect with you on social media?
Well, I am Brooklyn Juliana everywhere. There's a website called brooklynjuliana.com that we have where you can find everything I've done. And of course, if you want to find me on Apple Music, Spotify, excuse you.
I'm
And
sorry.
that's fine. Um, if you want to find me on streaming platforms, it's Brooklyn Juliana.
All righty, guys. So if you missed the chance to miss an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. So once again, Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Now, are you on my social media? Because I'm on social media too. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and YouTube. So Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. And if you want to find out my take on new music and check out more interviews, what's going on with America's Got Talent Season 18, and past coverage of The Masked Singer, visit jakes-take.com. Brooklyn, thank you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule for talking for me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure was all mine.
All righty, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time, have a great one, everybody. Goodbye.